No one's breathing. Bust that window out.
Alright.
Oh my God.
She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels.
What would you do if you discovered your child had a dark, horrifying secret? Mackenzie Shirilla, a normal daughter, was hiding a chilling truth. Her parents, living an average life, suddenly found out that Mackenzie is not who they thought she was. She's a killer. How do you think they would react? Shock? Disbelief? Fear? It's like their whole world crashes down in an instant. How could they have raised a killer? Natalie and John Shirilla, Mackenzie's parents, were still in shock from the news of their daughter's devastating car accident. Mackenzie had been airlifted to the nearest hospital, but what the officer was about to tell them would change their lives forever. The officer suggested they should sit down before breaking the news. Natalie gasped as the officer began to explain the situation. Mackenzie had crashed the car into a building. Mackenzie's boyfriend, Dom Rousseau, and their friend, Davin, died in the crash. Mackenzie, now a suspect in a potential double murder, was under investigation. Initially, the police suspected it was a tragic accident, but as they went deeper, darker, and more disturbing secrets came to light. Around 1 a.m. on July 31st, 2022, Mackenzie, Dominique, and Davin attended a house party in their town. Throughout the night, they indulged in various substances, something Mackenzie was known to do. At around 2 a.m., Mackenzie approached the party host, Kelly, asking if she wanted to take acid with her and Davin. Kelly, surprised since she had never known Mackenzie to use acid, declined the offer. The trio left the party soon after, driving to another friend's house, where they spent the night. Everything seemed normal until they decided to head home at 5 a.m. Dominique's friend Davin asked for a ride, but Mackenzie insisted that they were in a rush. Dominique, however, overruled her and let Davin hop in the back. What started as a routine drive took a terrifying turn. Mackenzie suddenly took a different route, far from Davin's house, speeding over 90 miles per hour. She flew past street cameras and headed straight for a large brick building. Mackenzie survived the crash, but Dom and Davin were killed instantly. The wreck remained unnoticed for 45 minutes until a local passerby discovered the scene and alerted Strongville police. The car wrecked and Mackenzie barely alive. They fumbled to unlock the door, searching for a knife to cut through the debris. The officers searched for IDs, noting how young the victims looked. They struggled to find pulses, but Mackenzie's shallow breathing offered help. One of the officers saw her stomach moving. Realizing Mackenzie had miraculously survived, they called for medics and firefighters. Speculation about her state began. Either she was drunk or high, the officer said.
Let's see if we can get some IDs, guys.
24, go ahead.
You look younger. Oh yeah, they're all pretty young.
Back at the scene, the police collected evidence, identifying everyone in the car. They found multiple bags of weed in Mackenzie's bag, along with psilocybin mushrooms. Mackenzie was airlifted to the nearest hospital. Her parents were informed and rushed there, unaware of the full extent of the tragedy.
It looks like they even went off the road up there.
They did.
But if you're hitting a building that hard, I just can't believe.
The officers were trying to make sense of the chaotic situation. The crash had been devastating, and 2 people were already confirmed dead. As the family dealt with the news, the officer clarified that the investigation was ongoing. They didn't have all the answers yet, and there was a possibility of confusion about names. He assured them that the daughter was being treated and was in surgery. Meanwhile, another officer got on the phone to update the boss. He mentioned that the girl wouldn't be available for questioning for a while as she was undergoing a lengthy surgery. An officer revealed that they had found drugs in the car, specifically a bag of mushrooms. He apologized for having to share this distressing news, emphasizing that it was important to be upfront. The parents reacted with shock, asking about her consciousness. The officer confirmed that she had been extracted from the vehicle and had a severe leg injury, but she had been speaking and wearing her seatbelt, which likely saved her life. Another officer pointed out that Mackenzie had been wearing her seatbelt, while her passengers, Dominique and Davin, had not. This raised questions about her intentions.
Okay. No. You want to sit down? They say this. Progress to meet a car into a building. 2 are deceased in the vehicle. Daughter's driving.
And suggested possible premeditation, as it seemed she might have anticipated the crash and taken measures to protect herself. However, Dominique's family faced a much more devastating reality, as Dominique's father wasn't even aware that his son had been involved in the accident, let alone that he was deceased. But little did she know that detectives were on the case 24/7, digging deeper into what really happened that night. Now back to Mackenzie. The detectives needed to piece together exactly what happened before the crash. Turns out, Davin's phone was tracked through Life 360, this app that keeps tabs on where you're at. They showed how the car rolled down Progress Drive, smacked a sign, and then slammed right into a building. Crazy stuff. Mackenzie supposedly hit the brakes hard right before impact. They also mentioned how Davin's crew might have been tripping on psychedelics that night. Mackenzie, the driver, was supposed to be napping, but you know, psychedelics, they keep you up for hours. They even had the exact time these guys left the house. The car's black box showed the gas pedal was floored all the way up to the crash.
The shocking lack of remorse, coupled with the fact that the defendant was reported driving an automobile.
Even with all that info, the cops were still scratching their heads, wondering if this was all just a crazy accident or if something darker was at play. The cops were all about trying to piece together Mackenzie's motives and her relationships, hoping to crack this case wide open. As for crashing the car into the wall, if she did it on purpose, do you think she's capable of that? Thinking she can just drive into a wall and feel nothing? It's wild. Maybe she only survived because she's so small, but then she ended up killing 2 people. That's what it looks like she was trying to do.
I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davian. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate.
It seems to me like they were fighting the night of the crash. She might have just snapped and decided to ram into that wall herself. Dom was probably trying to talk her down the whole time they were speeding. They swerved and hit bumps, but no skid marks before the crash. It doesn't seem like she hit the brakes. Maybe he was trying to grab the wheel towards the end to steer away. Who knows? And then, just a week later, more drama with Mackenzie. Police get called to her place because of a disturbance. Turns out her dad worried about her mental state, even suggesting she needs a psych evaluation. Seems like things were pretty tense even after the crash. During the trial, they brought in a mechanic who said Mackenzie Shirilla's car data showed she floored the gas pedal just before the crash. No brakes. The prosecutor also pointed to other incidents showing how dangerous she was. The judge ultimately found Mackenzie guilty on several charges.
She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. Mackenzie alone made the decision to drive her car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her,
including aggravated vehicular homicide. Now, she faces 15 years to life in prison, eligible for parole in 2037.
The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally in the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, and her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and David.
And that's it for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel for more exciting content. Until next time.